Right across Australia, reckless coal mining is damaging our country and corrupting our democracy. Rehabilitation is failing, environmental crimes are going unpunished, and ordinary people are paying the price for international corporate profits. If the mining industry has its way, all this is going to get much, much worse. But there's another side to this equation. From Western Australia to New South Wales, Queensland to Victoria, communities are rising to defend our country and our future.
How do you fight a coal mine? Well, there is no rule book. In actual fact, the way I thought about it was it's like you get drunk and you go out in the dark with a blindfold on and you start swinging in the vain hope that you might actually hit something.
We went to the middle of Toowoomba, our local town, and we had wheelbarrows full of cabbages and farm production, and we sort of had synchronised wheelbarrows in a protest. We called that wheelbarrow diplomacy.
The judge, an unbiased entity, said, "Bulga residents, you're right. The government and the mine, you're wrong. The government should take heed of that."
I think community activism is the only way that will change anything, and it is increasing amongst people who have never in their lives opened their mouth and had a voice against what government or industry is doing to them. My role now is to facilitate that voice because government's not doing it, industry is suppressing it.
We need to create the biggest non-cooperation movement this country has ever seen.
I think we have a right to live as same as they have. And we own the land, so we should have the right to say no thank you. Bugger off. And that's what we're going to do.
Landholders are locking their gates and declaring their communities coal mine free. People are attending marches, rallies and public meetings. They are showing enormous courage to stand up and defend their country at protests and blockades.
This alliance is independent of political affiliation. This has got Liberal supporters, Labor supporters, Green supporters, Independent supporters. They have a look at them here. They're one 93-year-old man. They're old, they're young. Mrs. Reynolds is here. She's nearly 100. The people of all ages, all walks of life, all dispositions, all political affiliations, because they're united in one view that what's happening to Australia is treacherous and treasonous. All for the sake of international mining companies who'll expatriate this land to other parts of the world. We won't get the benefits of it, and at the same time leave the place a complete wasteland. And if you don't believe that, just take a helicopter ride over the Hunter Valley of New South Wales and it's like the crater of the moon.
We held them out of a property for 7 months. In our view, that's a huge victory because this is a game of pushing them out through the back end of the development window. So long we hold them up, they can drill 3 holes. Essentially, they've got 120 to go. Hold them up 7 months for every 3 holes. They're going to be here till the 2036 Olympic Games.
When it comes to the major question in this life, do you love this country or do you just simply want to make a quick buck out of it? They know where they stand.
It was back in 2008 that a mining company turned up with plans to start an open cut coal mine and a petrochemical plant. So they wanted to make fuel from coal. It's a very polluting process. In the background, just over my shoulder, was where they wanted to site it, right next to Hodgson Creek. We're in the headwaters of the Murray-Darling. It just was a complete idiotic thought that they could possibly do such a polluting project in such a productive area. We had to decide, are we going to allow this company to come in and wreck this area, or are we going to put up a fight? So at our first meeting, we had the discussion, and the unanimous verdict was, no, bugger this, we're going to fight. It's too important.
The Mining Act effectively is very strongly in favour of the governments and the mining companies, and very much against the landowners. And so the only way really I think that communities can make a difference here is get together and work together and take some sort of direct action. It's a no-brainer that that's probably the only way that people are going to protect their property.
You've no idea the strength of both the community as a whole and the individuals within the community and the abilities that they have until something brings you together like this. It's really, I think, the community that's been the key to it.
We fought it for 4.5 years before we won, and We're the first community to stop a coal mine in Queensland, so we're really proud of that, and we hope it gives some encouragement to other groups that they can win.
The Land and Environment Court said on one hand that the Warkworth Sands woodland was basically, it's world class. There is nothing else like it in the world, and it should not be bulldozed. Secondly, the impact on Bulga and noise and dust was a real impact. The social impact upon Bulga was real and major. And finally, the economics that were put forward by the mine, I won't use the term, but simply they were rubbish.
One thing we did, which was a great help, was to raise enough money to employ a consultant to look into the renewable energy potential of the Felton Valley, because we wanted to have an alternative that we could offer to the government. So this guy came, Trevor Berrell, he came and did a proper study, and he found that we'd got tremendous reserves of solar power. We got more solar power than the south of Spain, where they're building all those big plants. We've also got promising sites for wind power. So in the Felton Valley alone, we could generate enough power for 160,000 Queensland homes, and that could go alongside agriculture without wrecking it.
We're facing massive expansion of coal mines. We can't stand by and see our country's ability to feed our own population and that of other countries as well impacted by overseas interests to our own detriment.
They've bought everybody off. They're everywhere. And they've got these lobbyists, as I said, a mile high. Those are the odds against us. But in the light of that, I say this. Edmund Hillary did climb Everest. Wotan won the Melbourne Cup at 100 to 1. Outsiders do get up, because in the scheme of things, if we're strong enough and persistent enough and tough enough and quite prepared to carry the fight to them, most of these people are cowards. They know they don't have an argument on their side, they don't have the public on their side, or as we say, they don't have a licence really from the public to do what they're doing, and therefore the battle's winnable, but it's tough.
What we've got is that industry, like some mythological beast, a Balrog in the mines of Moria, it's lashing out. It's lashing out in the last few decades of its existence. And as it goes, it will take out whole regions. There's only one way to stop this. We don't need the grey wizard to do it. We need people power to do it. We need to come together as communities and say, you're not coming into our community, and we will use the power of the people to stop you. Thank you very much.